Hi, Anshuman. Thank you so much for joining us on Blitz Business. It's a pleasure to have you.
Same here, Ashish. Pleasure talking to you and look forward to a very interesting discussion.
Awesome. Let's get started. So, Anshuman, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background first.
Ashish, I come from a middle class family, born brought up in Lucknow, did my graduation from IT Delhi about 25 years ago, worked with Infosys about a year, and then almost like started right after the college about in 99. I started out. I had the blessings of my family and my brother, who's also an entrepreneur, a year elder to me. We both took the entrepreneurial plunge, and 99 entrepreneurship and unemployment were like synonymous. So to that degree, we figured out in 2-3 years what we are doing and let the world know. But it has been a very thrilling journey of building Careernet and various brands in the last 25 years.
Wow. So, you have been running this thing for now 25 years almost.
Yep, we will be completing the Silver Jubilee this year, and we have about 3 to 4 brands in our overall journey which we built.
Wow.
So, and we can talk more about it as we move forward. But yeah,
Sure. But
yeah, yeah.
how does it feel to complete like 25? It's a major milestone, isn't it?
It's a major milestone. It's a major milestone, and it always but the beauty about entrepreneurship is that you still feel very fresh. So that's I think, and I don't know from where the energy comes from, but I now believe that we are born and destined to be entrepreneurs to that degree.
Well said. Well said. So, let's dive deeper into it. So, tell us a little bit in terms of how is it when you started, what were you doing, and when you fast forward. Let's try to contrast like how what how the company has evolved within the first 5 years and what the company is doing now to better understand the transition.
So Ashish, and today in 24, if you see the last 1 decade, entrepreneurship has been very well acknowledged, and there is a playbook on which a lot of companies get started, and it's a very different world altogether now. And very happy the how ecosystem has come out. But the right time when 99, I think it was a lot between me and my other co-founder Rishi. We were more driven by our passion and interest, and our passion and interest was to go and solve some real business problem we see happening in front of our eyes. We essentially came from a tech background, and we realized that there is a space called HR, and people was one of our core forte, and we said that this is probably an area where we can excel. So I think it was more driven by our passion and our interest areas to excel around. And we realized that there is a huge gap in the HR industry in terms of people coming in from the tech industry not being there, and we kind of fit in that gap and filled that gap very well. The interesting thing is that the timing was very right. 99 IT was just happening. Serendipitous, we were in Bangalore, a right place to choose from. Not that we made that very conscious discovery, it happened so. And so when I look at it, I think a lot of the things came together to make it happen for us. So the timing, the city, and the sector we picked, India becoming the big, I would say, offshoring destination. So those things happened. And the first 5 years were mostly bootstrapped. Funding was never a scenario which we essentially could even tap into. So we were mostly bootstrapped. 30th of the month, you always had that fear of how you will pay the salaries. And you come from a middle class background, you don't have capital. So you have to really like go and do everything. So I think the in that process, the team which we built, the core which we built was phenomenal. And still today, 25 years journey, when we will celebrate this year, we will have at least 20 guys who have completed 20 years with us. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
and
a
they're still with us.
milestone.
So it's like a very, very, and we always say that from an animal instincts point of view, the strength of the pack, the strength of any wolf is their pack. And I still believe in that. And to that degree, we truly still believe that the startup journey, the startup energy, the entrepreneurship. So that I think is the constant phenomena. While problems will keep changing, the way of solving this keep changing. But the
But
energy is the same.
call yourself startup is 25 years. I mean, I mean, if you
No,
are a startup, then people doing in 1, 2 years, I don't know about.
see, what happens is we are definitely frugality has not gone away. I think the whole principle of doing more with less. If you really ask me what is startup, startup is about doing more with less. And if I have unlimited resources, unlimited time, I can do anything.
So,
But
what are those top 5 things, Anshuman, which you have done more with less? Like, what are those 5 line item or 3 line item which comes to your mind and which you are really proud of? I could achieve that thing with only this much resources.
So one thing is, look, in our 25-hour journey, 300 months, we never had a time when we defaulted on any of our commitments from an employee point of view or from our financial institutions point of view or anything. We never ever defaulted. 300 months successive, and if salaries has to go on 30th, whether I had to let my home be on mortgage, whether I have to let my assets at a personal, but it's a commitment. It's a commitment. So I think that is one thing which I'm very proud about, and we really live with it. Second thing, I think we have been very, very ethical about the things in this business. Extremely ethical, I would say, and it is a thing which we again feel proud about. It we never take any sideways, and we have seen so many opportunities which we had to let go. But we said we made a choice to be an entrepreneur. It was not a compulsion for us. And if it is a choice, it is a choice which we are making. So I think God gave us the luxury of having that choices with us. So that choice was definitely there with us. So and we kind of like tread that journey. Third, I would say, I think in the whole process, we realized that we got success, we got failures, and we realized that it's a cycle. And I think our ability to continuously learn from the whole journey has never gone away. And I think learning has something, because it is such a rapid changing industry in which it is there, and especially when you are tech focused. So you really have to keep your learning eyes. And what I still believe is, and I think that comes from the fact that when I look at our core team, our founders, and everyone, I think there's a lot of humility and grounding which is there. And we always believe that whatever we have achieved is just the 5% of what we want to achieve. So I think that those three, four things are something which I feel good about the whole journey of the last 25 years.
What were those Anshuman side deals which you never took?
Well, I think the side deals are obviously, if you really ask me, in any journey, there are those agreements and disagreements. And I think which is very obvious to have. And we had our set of agreements and disagreements.
Give us a sense of it. What is it?
Well, it could be anything. I remember when we were like about 2 years in the business, we were trying to explore a partnership with IIT. And that time the market has tanked in 2001. The whole meltdown had happened. And on one hand, we felt that we will do a nationwide assessment program with IIT as their fourth slot when it used to be a 2-day IIT, and we said that the fourth slot we will go and acquire, and it was an amount of about 70 lakhs of investment was there needed to do that. Market was tanking out, and it was a very, very tough moment between me and my founder to figure out, should we go, should we not go, should we go, should we not go. We signed up an MOU, we paid about 15 lakhs, but we had another tranche of paying 60 lakhs more. Now, because the market has tanked out, very, very nervous moment. Should we pay 60 more or should we back out? Funding is not available. So I think those are the places where we had the agreement, disagreement. But when we look back, I think whatever decision we took, we felt right or wrong, I think we said that we were together. So I think the feeling of togetherness in the journey is very important. And I think you will always have agreements and disagreements. And between me and my other co-founder, we were brothers. As a brother, you have a lot of passion and energy which gets into it.
Who is
Rishi is the elder brother.
So does he give you an argument here like chota brother or smaller brother? Let me.
No, I think Rishi has been very, very always respectful of my views to that degree. I think the good thing about between us is that age hasn't like the difference of age. It's only 1 year. I have always respected him as a brother, whether it is a 1 year. But I think he has always put my opinion first. He has been more accommodative. I would say I get the benefit of being the younger one.
That's good to have, always. So Anshuman, then in the current journey of the company, so walk us through what are your current offering, what you guys are doing as of.
So, we are primarily, Ashish, two sides. We are a demand supply company. On the demand side, we believe our customers are there who have always the need to hire the best talent in the world and any part of the world. And the supply side, we have our candidates who are looking for great career opportunities. From a revenue model point of view, we only make money through our customers. We do not charge to our candidates. Candidates essentially come and discover their career, and we help take their advice, take our advice.
Typically, it is technical, right?
So we started a lot with the technical jobs, but today we are across the sector, across the country. We have about 1,000 paying plus customers overall. right from a garage startup to a Fortune 10 company to an Indian conglomerate to a VC funded startup. I think we have a length and breadth of the customers, and our job segment contains everything, right from tech, non-tech, operations. But we mostly, I would say, white collar segment. Little bit of gray collar. We do not dwell into the minimum wages, blue collar, delivery boys, and those kind of things. We are mostly, I would say, the white collar knowledge worker economy is where we focus.
And so I recently had someone who is into blue collar space itself, and they provide uh, resources, manpower in Middle East. So different segment, but I have a similar question for you. How easy or difficult business model is this? I assume a lot of operationally heavy.
So blue collar, look, we are an investor in one of the companies, are reasonably large investor in one of the companies. One is, look, I think the DNA and the culture of a company like that, which is operating in the blue collar space, is very different the way you operate in the white collar space. And I think we realize that it is not easy for us to transfer that culture so easily. And we said that we will, while the space may sound interesting, but we will remain as a shareholder and investor at a balance sheet level, but not as an operator. So you have to somewhere start distinguishing mentally that where are you fit as an operator and where are you fit as an investor. The space is interesting. The space is big. In fact, the India's 95% plus employment space is the blue collar and the gray collar. But the 5% is the more, I would say, the known ones for which the India's tech story, India's knowledge story stands onto it. So we have, like, to that degree, experience on both the sides. But blue collar is a very, very operationally intensive, low margin business, and it's a lot very compliance driven business. So it's a lot very operative to that level. Whereas when you look at the white collar segment, it is far more, I would say, figuring out which is the best talent, what is going to happen in future, which are the next new tech skills which are going to come about, where disruption is happening, which is the next Flipkart in making, which is the next Zomato in making. So you really kind of think about the future and start working towards that. So
So
it's a different world altogether.
is the current time good for you guys? Looking at all the layoffs have happening, like massive layoff across the segment, as you're aware, within Indian ecosystem, foreign ecosystem. And I know personally well, right? There was a big peak couple of years back. So I run a software company also, and people were asking crazy CTCs, etc.
Yeah.
So currently, what is the on-ground situation since you are in this space? What's really happening?
So I think the last 18 months to 24 months have been reasonably muted to okay, or rather poor to okay, from a tech and a white collar segment point of view. And if you at least look at the white collar segment, Ashish, the way at least I will classify it, and since you come from a software background, we look at as the four broad big mother spaces. One space is our Indian IT services, where we are making our software and selling it to the world, like your Infosys, Wipro, TCS. The other is the global MNCs who have set up their shops in. The third is the whole Indian startup space, which has come in, which is backed by the VC funding, and you name it, like a Flipkart or a Zomato or a Swiggy or a Ola. And the fourth is the typical Indian conglomerates like the Reliance and the Bajaj and the Godrej. These are the four broad motherships where the talent comes in. If you really ask me about the first and the third, are reasonably muted currently. MNC ecosystem setting up in India, the second is okay. It's not like that great. While we hear a lot of stories that they are coming and setting up, but the existing bigger ones which are there are not really expanding big time. And the fourth one is reasonably doing well, because you would have seen today morning's India growing 8.2%. So that is definitely fueling up some demand. But majority of the tech and the white collar segment, and in my opinion, India has roughly about 40 million people working in the private sector organized space.
Wow.
Okay, 40 million. And the overall organized talent in India is roughly about 90 million, of which about 45 to 50 million is in the public sector and 45 million is in the private sector.
Wow.
Okay, that is how the lay of the land is. At a India level, we have roughly what about this time the electoral list was roughly about 970 million. 18 to 65, if you take the population, working age population, you exclude the 65 plus. The data is about 920 million. Of the 920 million, we have what, 55% labor productivity, which is there, roughly, which makes it about 520 million. of the 520 million, 220 million to 230 million goes into farm.
Okay.
210 to 220 million goes into your unorganized, like your construction worker, daily wages, the rediwala and all of that. That leaves broadly 95 million, which is the organized. So if you really think about, like, we're talking about what, 1500 million people, but 90 million is the organized, and this includes, by the way, all the delivery boys of Swiggy, Zomato, all the Uber, Ola drivers, which are a part of the, but they're a part of the organized economy.
Organized.
So if you really think about, and you look at our tax data, we have what, about 675 million people, 67.5 million people filing taxes, of which 430 million paying zero tax. So we have broadly like 19 million to 20 million people just paying some taxes. And a lot of the people in the, and you are a software professional, Ashish, you know, most of the people in your company or ecosystem will be paying taxes. So truly speaking, the whole tax economy and the white collar tech economy is almost synonymous. And that was a point I'm trying to drive, that look, that piece is definitely not doing well. So,
Wow.
so that's how we dissect the data and look at where the economy is headed. Yeah.
But that's interesting, the way you broke it down. It really helps understand, where we stand. And it's basically your target segment is this 97 million.
In that, I would say 40 million, because the public sector we don't get into, but public
Definitely.
sector operates
Yeah.
very differently. So
Correct.
it's the 45 million. And that, if you take the delivery boy and the biker and the cab one and all of that, then it's broadly the 25 million, 30 million people. Because there is a lot of the manufacturing workforce, the blue collar workforce, which is also there. So broadly, that is another about 15, 20 million. So our target size is about 20 million people.
20 million. Got it.
That's where the whole landscape lies into.
And then what's the reason, Anshuman, for all these sort of layoff happening? What is your take on it? Is it the technology factor, overhiring factor, other factors? Like, I have heard all the reasons, but I want to know what is it that from your perspective?
Sure. So look, I think the most of the layoffs have happened, Ashish, in the startup space and little bit in the IT services space. Not so much in the India domestic economy and not so much in the MNC space. If we pick up that 20 million pool which we are talking about. Startup space clearly has roughly about 70, 80,000 job losses in India, which has happened. Primarily, it is backed by the slowdown in the VC funding. 22, we had about $44 billion of funding. It was a dip. Sorry, we had a 44, then we had a dip to 23, then we had a dip last year to about 10 billion. This year, again, it's looking a little lesser than that, maybe 7, 8 billion. So I think there is a significant crash of about 70, 80% in funding. So that is bound to happen. The goalpost, unfortunately, for most of the startups have been changed, because 21, 22, the goalpost was growth, spend more, grow more. 23, we said profitability and this, and now we are really saying you go for an IPO. So you can't change the goalpost so fast, but it is how it is. So there is that level of, I would say, flap shedding which is happening, and as a result of that, that is one space. The other, on the IT services side, there has not been very formal layoff, I would say, but there has been reasonably headcount shedding due to not hiring and low hiring activity. Campus offers have not been honored, so that is, in a way, you can say quasi layoff kind of a thing. Primarily driven by the US industry, inflation, the whole banking segment shocks which we got in March or April of last year. And if you see, the banking segment is really not hiring in US. That's one of the reasons which is there. If you look at all the IT services, they have been reasonably on a hiring break in 23. Now you can see little bit of revival happening there, because they need to do that. So I'm hopeful that the H2 of 2024 is actually going to be a little better. But primarily, if I have to attribute the reasons are, it started with the Ukraine war, started with the inflation going up, skyrocket, and then the little bit of the banking mess which happened in US, followed by, I would say, the risk of inflation going up and interest rates not going down. So an interest rate not going down is a big factor in US. So that, I
Because the
would
money
say,
flew.
money went. Exactly, the money got sucked up completely. Because and good thing is, look, Indian economy has been doing well. So I would say 8% on the back of when the world is slowed down. The world was growing at about 3.54%. Right now, we are looking at a world growing at about 2.5 to 3%. So in that, 8.2 is like the 12% of the earlier days.
And what is it, Anshuman? Currently, where are you seeing demand, in what type of resources, skill people are asking, so that people who are listening can understand, okay, that's where maybe we have to head or upskill ourselves or do something. So where is that now, the demand coming in, or for the next couple of years? In what type of skills, categories, jobs?
Sure. See, especially on the tech side, if you have to look for, as in cloud still continues to be one of the big areas which is getting adopted. AI is coming, and AI has a lot of connotations in terms of the direct LLM jobs or the writing the models essentially, or essentially training those models or training those things. A lot of jobs which are coming in there. Security is one area because everything getting into digital, there is a huge, I think, need for security which is coming out to be there. So those are the areas where we see a lot of job creation will happen. Plus, I think what is going to happen is a lot of the developers need to actually learn how to use AI to become far more efficient. And that's where I would say a lot of, I would say, upskilling will happen. And Ashish, it is like this, like in 2010-11 when internet came in and it was really much more deeper and the social thing came in. It's not did not replace jobs. It was essentially said that you have to be like trained on internet, you have to be trained on those areas. So I think that is a phenomena which is going to happen, and that AI is a big, I would say, milestone to that degree. So in the last 1 or 2 years, a lot of I would say progress has happened, and the next 1 or 2 years you will see a lot of adoption happening on that front. And when you will look at a snapshot of 2022 and snapshot of 2026, you will see a sea change happening in terms of how the people profiles and skill levels looks like, and that is progressively going to move forward. The fear which I do see in this whole scenario is that AI will also eliminate a lot of jobs. So that I think truly is going to happen. So what are the jobs going to be for those people is an area of another discussion. But yeah, that's the area where I see how the tech stack is going to evolve.
And what is the non-technical demand? Like non-technical, what is it coming up?
See, non-technical demand still, I would say India has, particularly a lot of non-technical demand is driven by the Indian domestic economy. And non-technical demand, if you see, India has still a lot to grow. There's a lot of infrastructure which is getting built, a lot of manufacturing which is happening, a lot of markets which are getting access, tier 3, tier 4. So a lot of non-technical jobs, whether it is sales, operations, marketing, those kind of jobs will get created. Non-technical jobs which are export oriented, which is the financial operations, or let's say the KPO job or the outbound call centers for various financial services, and those are those places, that is also there. But that is the place where I see a maximum risk of AI coming in, because the non-technical export job is the place where AI can actually do substantial job losses in India.
But has these new concepted, like US, where there is this thing called now nearshoring, where they want people, even the support staff, within the same time zone, like in Mexico and all. They are bringing back many things within their four walls, be support centers, etc. I mean, is it really happening on ground at that scale, or still back offices are here?
No, it is happening, but the scale at which India can deliver is humongous. As in, I'll tell you, one of our customers was trying to set up something in Mexico, and we started with them, did a research and everything. We realized that what India can deliver, Mexico is only 1/10 of it. As in, you can
Help
make
us
a small.
understand why.
See, the fact about this key, see, in India, when you look at the wage difference between what you get paid in a tech sector versus what you get paid in a non-tech sector, it's almost like a 2 to 4x difference. Whereas when you go to a Mexico, you pick up a regular job kind of a thing, and the tech job, the difference is only 20-30%. So there is really no push from the family for a child to go and say, I have to build a tech career.
Wow.
Whereas in India, people say, oh, you get into a tech sector, you will automatically take care of. And I've seen so many folks who started with very humble beginnings of 2.5, 3 lakh salary as a fresher, and within 5 years, they're sitting at 25 lakhs. Whereas same people from their class who got into non-tech sectors, they started at the same salary or maybe a little higher, but they're still getting paid half of what they're getting paid after 5 years.
Wow.
So I think the fact about the jobs in the, and see, Mexico is a $10,000 per capita country. India is a $2,500 per capita country. So to that degree, the difference, but whereas our tech economy per capita is almost roughly about $20,000 plus to
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah. See, you take the case of about 12 million people working in IT services only. And Ashish, they are roughly generating about what, $200 billion of revenue. The GCC industry is actually generating roughly about 50 billion to 60 billion with 1.8 million people. So if you see the per employee revenue generation on IT services, roughly about $20,000. In GCC, it is roughly about $27,000. You pick up our SaaS economy, it is roughly about $70,000. So to that degree, the per capita on the tech economy in India is very high. So the variance to that degree, when we look at a $2,500 per capita, our non-tech
Average
economy is
goes down. Yeah.
sufficiently lower. So that's where I think there is a lot of, I would say, scale which has got built up in India from a tech economy point of view. And plus, we have a very large English-speaking population, while Mexico has a reasonably Spanish, which works very well in US. But to that degree, India has a lot, I would say. And at $2,500, a lot of the other costs, like the building, facilities, and those things are far more cheaper.
Lower. Yeah.
So that's how I would say, as in India has a lot of cost advantage as well as scale advantage. And plus in India, you can do a lot of variety. On one hand, you can actually set up an R&D center for an OpenAI and Anthropic. On the other hand, you can actually set up a call center also. Plus, you can do application development. Plus, you can do a little bit of high R&D where you can actually do a research lab kind of a thing. So all the 5-6 spectrums of work in a white collar economy is not so much possible at scale. You take Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe, you will find good quality talent, but very small scale. And now you want to run. Now India has even picked up manufacturing. You pick up a company like Apple, you can do manufacturing, you can do support, you can do R&D, you can do deep OS work, you can do map work, whatnot. So it's a very, I would say, holistic ecosystem which India is presenting to the world.
No, that was my next question in terms of quality. Eastern, they are sort of in same scale, if I can imagine, in terms of salary, and but quality was always a thing and a concern. But I think the deeper issue also in quality comes in of the institutes, which is just pumping engineers left, right, center with very less care, I think, to the quality of the education, because that is where their talent is coming from. What do you think?
No, I agree. See, I think all said and done, IITs and the NITs and our IIMs and our MBA institutes have done a phenomenal job. If I pick up these 3-4 categories and pick up our top 100 institutes, they have, I think, formed the whole backbone of India's knowledge economy. So that is clearly the case. And consistently, last 25 years, I passed out in 98. I would say in the last 25, 26 years, good quality input is coming in. Do they really do a great job of like imparting education? There is a lot to be done there. And that's a very different topic altogether. But at least the good thing is that their filtering mechanism of the right produce coming inside these colleges is very good. And I think probably if a little bit of more curriculum change can be done, a little bit more focus on innovation and research can be brought in, then I think that whole concept of will we produce the Google and the Apples of the world from India will actually start happening. And I think we are at a point where I firmly believe that in this decade or in the next decade, we will start producing that trillion-dollar companies coming out. So, and it will only happen if our academic infrastructure changes. While it has kept pace, and no doubt about it, and it is not to criticize them, but it is to talk about where they can head out to from an education point of view. So there is I would say, a lot of work which needs to be done there. And hopefully the new NEP policy which the government has launched should do some of that. And there is a lot of focus going to be on the corporate side also, because truly speaking, our corporates have looked at our campuses as colonies where you can get good labor and do it. They have really been doing very lip service with the campuses. If they can actually work much more closely with campuses, then there's a lot to be done there.
So do you also run, Anshuman, like upskilling centers or something of sorts, or?
So we have actually, Ashish, a campus program. So we have, in fact, I told you about that initial one where we said that we would partner with IIT to do a software entrance exam in 2001 and 2. So it was a part of our campus offering, and our corporate said that when we are trying to hire lateral talent and CEO level talent, I will also want to take your help to hire from campuses. So that is our campus program started. And we work with about 500 plus colleges, engineering and MBA institutes across the country for various corporates to hire. Now, what happens when we go to these campuses, there is a huge set of people which we believe are good but not ready yet. And there, what we tend to do is to partner with a lot of the finishing schools and upskilling companies and help them to say that this is the gap and maybe you should go and pick one of them and work with them. Come back to us. We will assess you, see your placement ready, and then we will help you to find a job for you. So that's the model which we have. So we directly do not get into the imparting of education, but we actually kind of help them to discover where the career gap is. Exactly. And then we finally provide them a pathway to get inside the industry.
So then now, Anshuman, sort of a step back when you look at this journey of 25 years. So, kya miles? Is there anything in your head you're like, I want to now achieve this or that, or what is that one thing or couple of new things? You said you feel very energized still after 25 years. So, what is that keeping you?
So, Ashish, the good thing about India is that in every sector, we are producing a global behemoth. Whether you pick up telecom, IT services, even auto, every area we are producing a global behemoth. I think in the manpower space, we need to have one or two global behemoths coming. And because India has got 60% of world population, by 2040, the working population of the world, about 15 to 20% of the working population will be from India. So why should not a global manpower company among the top three should be from India? And I think that's what we need to establish, whether we will be there or somebody from our ecosystem will be there. But that's, I think, the space which we should work towards.
Who is the current leader in this space globally?
Well, there are global companies like your Randstad, Manpower, Allegis. All these are US companies. All of them have come up in India and kind of set up their centers. Most of them acquired our peers, Indian peers, to that degree. We are probably among the very few Indian founder, Indian shareholding company which are there. And
Did they came to you?
Well, in this journey of 25 years, 25 offers, I would say.
Wow. And why did you say no?
No, I think we firmly believe that we can do a lot. I think the businesses go up because of that whole entrepreneurial energy. So I firmly believe that if apna business, it's our country, we have to solve a problem. We have to come and solve a problem.
Was there any deal, Anshuman, which you felt like it's like too good, maybe it got you thinking like कुछ तो 25 offers में कुछ तो ऐसा आया होगा कि which made you at least think in back of your head कि interesting.
No, we always say it's a good validation. We always say that if you keep getting offer, it means you are doing something right. Many a times you get into those question marks whether are you going on the right track or not. Say, this is right. This is right.
Offer
So that's how it is. It's a validation to that degree. But clearly, I think there is I would say, because see, India talent is gone global, and India would be really that top three and maybe top two and then number one by 2050. So can we be one of those firms along with along with our Indian companies there? So truly, I think that's the spirit in which we believe that it is there. In my lifetime, it happens great. Otherwise, yeah.
Is capital, then I assume capital is not a constraint for you guys. You're cash flow
capital
positive or
is-
you have
No, so we are totally bootstrapped, self-funded, and I would say we have been very frugal, Ashish. In fact, in 2015, I would suggest that we spinned off another business from the manpower space into the co-working office space business, which is called IndiCube. It is today the second, third largest player in the co-working office space business.
Yeah, IndiCube founder came to my podcast.
Okay, Rishi is my brother.
Rishi is your brother. His wife came to my podcast.
Meghna's sister-in-law.
My God, I have got the whole family now.
And Meghna's sister is my wife. So, so we are two brothers married to two sisters. Some other day, but yeah, I think the culprit is the Rishi. he set it up.
He set it up. Wow. Yeah. Meghna was with us and she was explaining like IndiCube scale is like tremendous.
Yeah. So 2014 is when, because it happened. So look, this is where the businesses come out of frugality. We moved into our own campus in 2013. It was a big campus. And we realized that we don't need so much. We need to put a G&A down. We kind of made up structure such that half campus will be occupied by us, half campus will be subleased. And then within a year, we realized it's a very good business economics. We said, why are we not just getting into that business? So we spinned it off in 15 and then did a couple of buildings there, and we didn't knew that there is a company called WeWork. It's only to us 16, 17 years ago, there is a category called co-working, and we were just doing it for, we believe there is a problem to be solved. Then we realized it's a capital guzzling space, and that's when we got our first investor, Westbridge. We initially did it all bootstrap, funded by us from our Careernet only, and then in 17, Westbridge came in, and then growth journey became really exponential. So that's it.
So you guys have been bootstrapped. IndieCube has been full raising capital.
But even IndieCube, if you see, if you go back and look at IndieCube and Careernet, the basic tenets are very same. Very same. In fact, IndieCube would be one of the most capital efficient players in the co-working space. Just that the business needs capital, so you cannot make the business suffer. But I would say the capital deployment and the efficiency in IndieCube is 4x of any other corporate.
Wow.
4x of any other product. And that is, I would say, that is of the early lessons of 20 years where we said that frugality is something, is a way of thinking, and it is like, and then you really like work in that way. So as in, we all share the same campus, as in our corporate office is on the 4th floor of the building, IndieCube on the 3rd
Run
floor.
by IndieCube, yeah.
Yeah. So that way, I would say, in fact, the first 30, 40 guys in IndieCube moved from Careernet, and none of the guys knew about the real estate. And everybody knew about solving the problems using first principles. When we started the company, we didn't come from an HR background, recruitment background. So it is, I think, what Ashish we have taken up is key. You should be a problem solver. Your ability should be able to identify a problem and solve that problem. And frugality, that humility, that long-term thinking, those are the constants which will remain in every business. And you can keep applying to it. Now we are building a whole tech product in the recruitment space. I have not coded for the last 25 years. I've never done a product role to that degree, but we are building out a great product right now.
SaaS product.
There's a product business, there's a recruitment business, there's a real estate business, but the concepts and the principles and value systems are very much similar.
So let me ask you this, Anshuman. In these 25 years, anything you wish if I gave you an access to a time traveling machine, you're like, I can go back. Anything you would have done differently? I asked this question to Meghna also.
Certainly, in retro, there are a lot of things which we could have done.
Tell us one or two things.
And then I'll tell you, in 2008, we were building out a complete software and we had our board of advisors, which were there, very eminent board of advisors. And they pushed us to a very heavy towards what we call as the perpetuity discussion. And I said that, look, are you trying to say that we will eventually end up competing with an SAP and Oracle? And they said, yeah, this is where you will be. And I said, are you joking, Ashish? Is it competing with SAP and Oracle? We are a small company. And I think we kind of like little bit went slow. I wish if we had really gone and pushed the pedal and said that, no, we are so ambitious there. And at 2008, the capital was still not so much easily available. It was just there. So I think we were limited by that whole capital thinking. We will need to really build a cash burning business and we will really need that thing. And we will become a global company, compete in SAP kind of a thing and build a whole enterprise software overall. I think if we had taken that advice and gone far more ambitious, I don't know where it would have been. But that is one area which I always felt that journey, the tech journey which we embarked about 5 years back, we actually embarked that journey in 2008 and 7.
Could have started earlier.
We could have started and we could have been today what the Zoho of India is or what the Freshworks of India is. We would have been a far more mega company to that degree. So I think those are some of the missed opportunities, but this is one which I could definitely recall, Ashish. But this is actually which we corrected when we were doing IndieCube. And we said that let's be very ambitious in terms of if the capital has to come from outside, let's go and do that. So we did a lot, I would say, unconstrained free flow thinking at that point in time. And definitely the results are there. So I think that has helped us to learn a lot in this journey, that what to do, what not to do, where we made the mistakes. So that's how I went to Ashish, the life is about.
I mean, I can imagine, but it's fun and interesting. So do you keep sort of discussing, I mean, I can imagine like both business will be sort of in the same cycle, right? The co-working and they will be following the same.
Absolutely. Both are B2B businesses. 30% customers are common. See, anyone who's starting out needs two things, people and space.
Yes.
So they call up and say, we need people. Then we ask them, okay, where is your office? We are looking for it. Okay, here. We're looking for an office. Where are you hiring from? Okay, here is another one. So we have a lot as in they're separate businesses altogether, but at the back end, we do exchange lot of data between us.
You are in itself a Startup India launchpad. You guys have manpower, you have space. What else is needed?
Yeah. So to a degree, a lot of the companies come up. We obviously, because of the investor and the cap tables, we sign up contracts separately. But many a times we are pitching together. We have like half an hour pitch for IndiQ, then after half an hour is Careernet. That is how it happens many a times. Yeah.
That also gives a lot of comfort, right, and ease of doing things, right, because it's the same target and different services, so you can leverage a lot.
Yeah, and the customers feel very comfortable because when they actually are used to, because culturally both companies are very similar. So when they meet the people, they say, "Oh, I like you guys." Then it is very natural. If you like us, you will like them also. And then there's a lot of that flexibility, that customer orientation, and those things starts coming in. And then they say, "While you guys operate very separately, but I could see a lot of similarities between you." So
So
I think
is your wife is also running something?
so she runs the complete hospitality arm of IndiCube, the complete food cafeteria. So there are 25,000 people who dine at IndiCube daily.
Wow.
So it's a massive supply chain of food. She runs a complete food business. So this is one big part of it. She has her own chain of restaurants, which is there. So she and cafes, she's running it. So she has a 500 people team which works for her in the food
So
business.
food, manpower, space, you have gone to core basics and like let's excel in it.
Yeah, so that's how it is going
I
on.
think the one last piece is like providing stay also. Maybe it's in the works, then it's the full cycle is done and dusted. You're like just enter, you're taken care.
Yeah, but as in, see, Ashish, what we will do 5, 10 years later, I think it's a matter of time we figure out. And as I said, I believe we do not come from any background. We come from a background of just solving problems. And that is what I still believe, that we are engineers to that degree. As in, you look at a problem and you just start getting into that solving the problem without realizing the time and those things. And we are very excited about the solution which is there versus the overall.
Problem.
So, but yeah, that's how the DNA of the company is. Really asked.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks a ton, Anshuman. It was such a pleasure and a nice surprise also. I'm connecting dots at my end and I could sense the same sort of, the frugality angle and everything. Like, sounds similar, sounds similar. I'm like, what is it? What is it? It's like the DNA sounds similar. But such a pleasure having you, Anshuman. And anything you want to share from your perspective?
No, I would say, look, we all came from that whole middle class, tier 2, tier 3 towns typically. And there's a great talent which resides in these places. And I would say we were lucky that we came at the right time to this city, the right opportunity. And when we have got to this place, I think it's a very great moral responsibility which we entrepreneurs have to give it back to our ecosystem. I always make an attempt that if anyone comes from this, always go help out them, because this is what I got, and this is a legacy which we all inherited, and the best way is to pass on this legacy further, and that's how I think we as a nation will change, and that is what I think should keep us burning, keep us running. So that's what Ashish, truly I have for all the viewers.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Anshuman, for such an interaction and explaining in detail and breaking down things. It's very clear now, Indian market, how it is structured in this segment at least, and very insightful, very data driven, if I can say so. So, yeah, thank you for your time.
No, thank you, Ashish. A pleasure talking to you. Yeah.